So here's how to disassemble the Sear cage and its parts. There's a Sear cage, the Sear right here. This is the firing pin block lifter arm. Then there's two springs. This is the Sear spring. Come a little closer, Sear spring. And then there's a little spring for the lifter arm. So that way, on the bottom, you can the firing, the trigger bar would be pressing that, and it's returning. So then you have the pin that's holding it all together. Even after thinking I'm expert, it's been done this a bunch, that little lifter arm spring is just a pain. So put it in a bag, take this bad boy, and just push right on through, take it out, and then in your bag, clearly being closed, you can just kind of pull all the parts out. That I can slide back out. There we go. Don't do it any other way. So let's put the Sear cage back together. Infamously difficult process if you're on your own. Okay, so the Sear pin goes back in, and the lifter arm just goes, you can go from the top or the bottom. Doing this with the camera in front of my face is less than easy, but there we go. Got it in. Now the Sear has to come from the bottom, and the Sear pin, just pulling that back out. Now I can slide it through. Ta-da. Now we get the springs in. So let's go for the lifter arm spring. I'm going to slide the pin back out enough that it's got to slide into this little crevice. The spring has to go into that little crevice. So, and I'm going to have my finger in the back of that pin to keep it from falling out, and then to push it forward. So now let's get the Sear, or the lifter arm spring in, and I'm going to set that in right here, and it's going to sit in place. I've moved the Sear pin back so this can drop down and in, and sometimes it slides forward a little bit on me, and that'll prevent this from working, so make sure it's back. There is a little notch in the lifter arm that the spring has to stay in. Now, once I start pushing this down, I'm going to use a toothpick just to get in and pull the bottom of the loop the rest of the way down and get it in line. So, it starts going down. Use my fingernail to push it down just a little bit more. And right here, I can just see the loop. And I don't know if the camera's catching it. I can stick my toothpick in, catch the bottom of that loop, pull it down, and that aligned it so I can push the Sear pin through. Well, almost. It's a little teeny piece. There we go. So now I can pop right on through. There we go. That is the most painless way possible. You can see that should be a little bit of a flicker. The light might be glinting on it. It is in the lifter arm appropriately. So now let's get the Sear spring in. You notice I just pushed the Sear pin back out enough so I can drop this into place. And I've got it all over my fingers now, so it's getting a little less effective at this. Alright. You shouldn't need to use tweezers for that. That's just me having a hard time with all the grease on my fingers. So the Sear can kind of roll forward and back. I found when I roll it back a little bit, it makes it a little bit easier for this to drop in openly. Now I just start pushing the pin through. I might need to use my punch a little bit just to push it on. There we go. And now I said this was rolled back, and that's naturally, you can see it's kinked back because of the tension of the spring. So you just have to take the top of the Sear and just roll it back forwards, and that will come back into place. Now your Sear spring is in there and ready to go. You have reassembled the Sear cage, the worst of all the components to reassemble.